Guess who's back? Still smell all upon me clothes, ladies and gentlemen. So, another discussion video for y'all. Something that I touched on a while ago when it first happened, but it's kind of started to grow legs a little bit, and I feel like I need to talk about it again. Because I kind of feel like it goes further than what we giving it credit for. Joe Budden versus Eminem. Now, some of y'all might be like, because the whole Chloroseptic verse, he was getting at Joe. And some of y'all might be like, Joe Budden, who cares? But Joe Budden is considered Shady Family, right? So this is important. It's not just some regular person. This is somebody that, you know, Eminem knows Joe and Joe knows M. But the thing, yesterday Royce the 5'9" went on the Breakfast Club and had a Breakfast Club interview. And they asked him about what he feels with Slaughterhouse, because Slaughterhouse broke up. Or does he regret getting the Slaughterhouse tattoo? He says, no, it was a chapter in his life. And they start going into, you know, further talking about how Royce feels about what Joe said to M about the Revival album. And Royce the 5'9's loyalty lies with M. It's a little misguided sometimes too, and I understand why you do that, you know, because it makes you feel better. It makes you feel like you're really holding your mans down. But I'm gonna give you my feel on it. Honestly, I'm about to drop new music, new feature with Royce. So I feel like Royce isn't gonna be fully as honest as he should be. Now, M getting mad at Joe Budden for Joe Budden's opinion kind of goes to say, kind of says some stuff I was saying before. It was kind of goes on with saying what I was saying before, where I really hope that people aren't being yes men to Eminem. And I say that basically knowing they are. What do you, like, Royce is looking like a yes man. Royce is looking like a yes man. I know that's your man's, and I know that you ride with him. He gave you opportunities, and you've known him, and you've grown up in the game together. But one thing you said in there, in this Breakfast Club interview that Royce said, kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and kind of goes to show, and kind of makes me afraid, fearing what Eminem is going to drop in the future. When Royce said Eminem doesn't have the ability to make something whack or make garbage music, you kind of showed your hand with that one, man. You kind of showed your hand with that one, Royce. Let me put it to you like this way. I don't know if you're watching this, you probably aren't. But anybody who thinks like him, let me put it to you this way. Everybody can make whack music. Everybody. Doesn't matter what you made before. Doesn't matter what you're gonna make in the future. That's why every time you hop on that mic, you gotta treat it like if you don't respect it, you might come out with something whack. And to me, this is starting to explain a lot more why we got Revival, or why Revival sounded like it sounded. Because I think Eminem is in the booth with a bunch of people, or maybe he's surrounded by a bunch of people who are telling him he doesn't have the ability to make whack music. What kind of pompous statement is that? What kind of, listen, LeBron James can have a whack game, right? And that's muscle memory. That's muscle memory. LeBron James might not play as great as what he used to play. And here's another thing about being a great, which we need to just throw this. With being a great, you have to be extra. It doesn't mean that since you're a great, you get a leeway, or you get some sort of get out of jail free card, because that's what If y'all don't notice, that's why every time somebody gets a certain level of big, it's like they start becoming way worse than they ever were before. That's why it seems like when people are coming up, they're a lot doper than when they're solidified. Because I didn't even know that this is a thing, but I genuinely believe that there are people around people telling them, since you made hot music before, no matter what you do on this mic, it's gonna be hot? Or at least, no. No. Now, where I kind of understand what Royce is saying is that he said it's the way that Joe Budden said it. He said it was garbage, throw it in the trash, put it in rice, blah, 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 blah. I think Joe's relationship with M is not like your relationship with M, Royce. I don't think it's the same thing. So, I don't think you should be assuming that someone like Joe Budden, who literally says his own stuff was trash, and I'm not giving him a get out of jail free card because Joe Budden says some real stupid things and real uninformed things sometimes and lays on his laurels of being an old school or like knowing some of the game. He says some really wrong information sometimes. But he wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong. I watched, back in the day, a clip of Slaughterhouse in the studio. And it was, you can go watch this on YouTube, Joe Budden arguing with Joel Ortiz. And the way he was talking to Joel Ortiz, it's like, okay, so that's clearly how Joe Budden talks. And if you've known him this long, you got to know that. I think what happened and why Royce got extra, because I don't even believe Royce will go this hard if Joe says something about him. I think that that's where, like, because Lord Jamar says that, you know, Royce is being some sort kind of an Uncle Tom. And I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that the optic comes off that way when you say things like, this man doesn't have the ability to make whack music. Or, and here's the thing that you need to do. Separate Marshall Mathers from Eminem. Marshall Mathers is the person you know. I'm sure you know Eminem too, but I'm saying that Marshall Mathers is the person. Marshall Mathers is the human being who was flawed just like everybody else, right? Eminem may be your Superman, your superhero, right? Eminem may be your Captain Marvel. Eminem may be your Thanos crushing Avenger, right? But you can't, when you mix them two together, it starts making somebody almost like a deity, right? Where, because you're saying things that only somebody with divine qualities can have, right? Because you can't be a flawed human being or know somebody is a human being and tell them that they do not have the ability to make something whack. That's divine levels of creation that nobody has hit and nobody will ever hit, because if somebody hits that level, that in itself is going to be a flaw. That in itself is going to be whack, because people like flawed people, right? Now, the reason I make this video is, one, because Royce came out and said this yesterday, and two, because we have Eminem, rumors of new Eminem music coming out. So what I desperately don't want to see is anybody telling Eminem he can't make whack music. Because Eminem was his best as the underdog, man. And I really feel like he knows that. And he can't be that anymore. And it's not that you can't be that because, yes, you can. Yeah, you can. Especially now when it's almost becoming a meme to say that you're not dope. Yeah, you can. You could be the underdog. But it's when you're no longer the underdog, when you're the king on top of the castle, and you got your court gestures telling you that you can't do any wrong, that's when you lose touch of reality. And it's so weird that M of all artists would be that kind of person, because when you watch 8 Mile, when you listen to M, when you see his upcoming, He moved with a giant chip on his shoulder. I am the white guy. They look at me different because I'm white. I gotta say on every album that I don't like Vanilla Ice. I always gotta talk about Elvis. I gotta do this. He moved with a giant chip on his shoulder that made him the, you know what, I am? You know why that's so fire? Because he was attacking all the media who was telling him that he was whack, who was telling him that he was stealing black culture, who was telling him all this stuff. That's why I am whatever you say I am. If I wasn't, then why would I say I am? Perfect. But when you got people telling you you can't do wrong, how can you? And you got to take your own advice. If you are whatever they say you are, but if you wasn't, then why would they say you are? When they tell you you perfect, you got to do it the same way. That being said, I'm very excited for new M music. I hope Royce or somebody comes to their camp, and I hope Dre or something comes down like, wait a minute. Hey, yo, yeah. I hope he comes and goes like, listen, I know people over here telling you can't make whack music, but listen, you can. Get in this booth and make some dope stuff, or we ain't gonna put it out. That's what we need. All right? Put in the comment section below how you feel about the whole situation. If you think it is wrong for somebody to think that they are perfect in their craft. Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing? Check out my new single, The Tunnel Walk Remix, on everywhere you get your music from: Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, wherever. Just type in SCRU space, FACE space, JEAN. You know what I mean? My name is Scru. I'm pretty freaking awesome.